Have you ever asked yourself, why was I born in that exact month? Could it really be just a coincidence? Or could the universe be using your birth month to whisper something your soul has forgotten? Some people seem to have everything: steady job, loving family, a good life. And yet, they feel an invisible emptiness, a subtle disconnection, as if their soul is living somewhere else. And strangely, this feeling comes back year after year, right around their birthday. What if your birth month isn't just a mark on the calendar, but a vibrational code tied to your karmic lessons? A soul agreement written long before you were born. According to Buddhist philosophy, nothing arises by chance. Everything is the result of causes and conditions, karma and intention. Every soul is born at the precise moment it needs to face the lesson it must learn in this lifetime. Take February, for example. Souls born in February often carry the heavy burden of expectations from parents, from society, even from themselves. They try harder, they push more, but the harder they try, the more lost they feel. Their soul lesson? Let go of expectation. Only when they stop gripping so tightly can they finally breathe with their own rhythm. May-born souls are natural doers, always busy, always proving. But life isn't asking them to achieve more. It's asking them to be more present, to find peace in the now. Their lesson is mindful action, not just movement, but meaning. And those born in September? They are givers, caretakers, always putting others first. But deep down, they often neglect the one person who needs their love the most, themselves. Their path is about self-compassion, to turn inward and say, I am worthy even when I'm not perfect. What if your soul chose your birth month as a mirror to remind you of what you came here to learn? If you've ever felt strangely out of place during your birth month, or sensed a quiet pull towards something deeper, then maybe, just maybe, this is the message you were meant to hear, because your birth was no accident. You were chosen by life, by karma, by the quiet wisdom of the universe. There are people who carry a silent question, one they've never dared to say out loud. Why do I keep going through the same pain? Why do certain struggles repeat no matter how hard I try? Am I paying off some karmic debt? They could be anyone: a quiet school teacher, a single mother trying to hold it together, a middle-aged man laid off after 20 years of loyal service. Ordinary on the outside, but inside their soul is tired of not knowing where they truly belong in this life. And then, one random day, they glance at their birth month. Just a date on the calendar, nothing special, but something stirs. As if that month is hiding a message they've never truly read. In Buddhist wisdom, nothing happens by accident. You weren't born in that month because your mother planned it that way. You were born then because your karma, your soul's path, and the unseen rhythm of time led you to that exact moment. Not a second early, not a second late, exactly as it was meant. Each month of the year carries its own energetic current. Some months push us into action, others call for stillness, some teach surrender, others whisper of compassion and awakening. And strangely enough, when you live long enough, when you pause deeply enough, you begin to notice the hardest lessons of your life often echo the soul lesson hidden in your birth month. Take February, for instance. It's a month of expectations. People born in February often live with high standards of themselves, of others, of life. But the more they try to control the outcome, the more life slips from their grip. Their soul lesson? Let go of expectations, not to give up, but to surrender the illusion of control. May is different. It's a month of doing, striving, producing. Souls born in May often feel they must always be busy, always achieving, but over time, they drift further and further from themselves. Their lesson is not in what they do, but in how mindfully they do it. In September, those born in September often give and give. They care for others. They listen. They show up. But when it comes to themselves, they turn away. They smile when others need them, but cry alone when no one's looking. Their sole lesson is self-compassion, to love themselves even in the parts still wounded, unseen, or misunderstood. So what if your birth month is a spiritual map, and your life is a journey of slowly learning how to read it? Are you rushing through life without realizing that each bend in the road was designed to teach you something sacred? If your birth month has ever felt strangely off, if you've ever felt something deeper calling to you beneath the surface of your ordinary days, then maybe, just maybe, this is your soul asking you to pause, to listen, not to anyone else, but to the voice within you. Now, let's go deeper, month by month, lesson by lesson, so you can see no month is ordinary and no soul is ever truly lost. But recognizing the spiritual lesson of your birth month isn't easy because no one ever taught you how. There was no class that said, if you're born in May, be careful of false productivity. No one stood in front of you and said, September holds a lesson about loving yourself, not just others. Instead, you grew up with voices saying, be a good person. Put others first. You should try harder because someone else has it worse. And so you lived, but not your life. You lived to please. You lived to avoid conflict. You lived to protect an image. And little by little, you forgot what was truly yours. You felt tired, but kept smiling. You wanted to cry, but stayed silent. You gave everything. But deep inside, a quiet resentment began to grow. You once believed you were strong, but some nights when no one was around, you just wanted to disappear quietly, no drama, no one noticing, just gone, because you couldn't find a reason to keep going. And the paradox is, it's in these moments of collapse that your soul is actually speaking loudest. Not to punish you, not to break you, but to remind you you've forgotten your own lesson. Like a soft breeze you once heard in childhood, the time you were abandoned but still smiled. The time you gave everything and received nothing in return. The time you pushed yourself to exhaustion and no one even noticed. Those moments, those quiet heartbreaks, were never accidents. They were markers on your soul's map. They were signs asking you to come home. But where is home when all your life you've only been taught to run toward others? It hurts when you realize the very things you believed were right may actually be what's keeping you from peace. You live for approval while your birth month is trying to teach you to let go of expectations. You chase success while your soul is begging you to learn mindful stillness. You try so hard to be good while your inner child is asking, when will you finally love me too? Can you see it now? Life is not punishing you. It's just repeating the lesson until you finally stop and truly learn. And if you're still here, still listening, then maybe, just maybe, you're beginning to open your eyes, not the ones on your face, but the ones behind your heart. But what happens when you're not yet ready to look within? When you, like so many others, go on searching for answers outside yourself? That's when you fall into the next illusion. I'll be fine. if I just try a little harder. And that, too, becomes a brand new cycle of quiet suffering. After enduring for too long, people naturally begin searching for ways to fix their pain. But when they don't yet understand their true spiritual lesson, they often choose the wrong way. Those born in February, souls shaped by heavy expectations, often try to gain more control. They start organizing every aspect of their lives. They create detailed to-do lists, set 5-year plans, enroll in emotional intelligence workshops, and for a while it works. Things feel more stable. Relationships seem smoother. They think, if I can just plan everything perfectly, I'll finally be okay. The twist, then suddenly, everything collapses. Despite all their effort, a trusted person leaves. A job is lost overnight, and they're thrown back into that same void. Only this time, it's deeper. They ask, I did everything right, so why isn't it enough? That's the hidden lesson. You're not suffering because you lack control. You're suffering because you're trying to control a river instead of learning how to swim in it. Those born in May, natural doers, choose a different path. They try to do even more. They sign up for productivity courses. They wake up at 5 a.m., run marathons, work overtime, join goal-setting communities. They convince themselves, if I just push hard enough, I'll find peace. And at first it works. Adrenaline gives the illusion of purpose. They feel alive again, on the move, on a mission. The twist, then the body begins to speak. Insomnia, heart palpitations, anxiety with no name. They see doctors, run tests, no clear diagnosis. The doctor says, you need to rest. But they think, I can't rest now. I'm finally changing my life. And that's the turning point. They realize the more they run, the further they drift from themselves. Because peace isn't found in speed, it's found in presence. Those born in September, deeply compassionate souls, make a more subtle mistake. They believe they'll be okay once everyone else is okay. They take care of others. They listen. They support. They give. They never say no, afraid of disappointing someone. And when others thank them, they feel a sense of worth. As long as they're happy, I can handle anything. The twist, until one day, the very person they gave everything to turns away, criticizes, leaves. Not out of cruelty, but because when compassion becomes self-erasure, it becomes a burden. And suddenly they're left alone with a painful truth. Love doesn't mean turning yourself into a shadow, because people are only truly nourished when you also know how to love yourself. Despite their different birth months, all these people have something in common. They search for healing outside of themselves. And for a while, the surface solutions seemed to work. They felt better, calmer, in control. But then, those same solutions became traps. Beautiful, polished cages, temporary relief that never touched the root. Why? Because no one ever taught them to pause and listen inward. No one ever told them, you don't need to be stronger, you need to be more honest with your pain. No one said, you don't need another course, you need to sit still and ask what part of you has never felt accepted. No one said, you don't need to please everyone. You need to look in the mirror and smile at yourself first. And that's why so many people, even after going so far, find themselves back where they started, because they never truly began from within. But sometimes the universe can't wait for you to wake up gently. It sends a jolt, an unexpected event, a truth too big to ignore. And in that moment, everything breaks. But life won't let you hide forever. There comes a moment, sudden, unannounced, when everything you've built falls apart. For those born in February, that moment often takes the shape of a complete loss of control. Maybe you're preparing for something important, a project, a family gathering, a long-awaited trip. Everything is planned. Everything feels in order. People see you as strong, dependable. You tell yourself, this time I've got it under control. And then, within one single afternoon, it all unravels. A phone call, an accident, a family emergency, plans canceled, structure gone, and worst of all, your trust in yourself is shaken. But no one really knows how much it hurts, because you've always hidden your tears behind perfect execution. You don't know how to let go, so you grip harder, even when your hands are bleeding. The twist? You thought exhaustion came from not having enough control, but the truth is, you never learned to trust the flow of impermanence. You've traded the aliveness of your soul for the illusion of safety, and now you feel empty. For those born in May, the collapse doesn't come from outside. It builds silently, from within. You keep going, keep doing, keep showing up. From the outside, you're a model of success, efficient, energetic, driven. But one night, no phone, no distractions, you sit in silence. No books, no music, no scrolling, just stillness. And in that stillness, you hear it. I don't know who I am anymore. You begin to cry, not for any specific reason, but for every reason you never gave yourself permission to feel. You realize you never truly rested, because you feared that if you stopped, you'd feel the emptiness inside. The twist? You thought achievement would lead to peace, but all you did was paint a polished success story over a home you abandoned long ago. The truth is, you don't need to do more. You need to return. Return to the parts of you that are uncomfortable. Return to the wounds you moved on from, but never healed. For those born in September, the collapse feels like a betrayal of the heart. You gave too much. You forgave. You endured. You stayed just to keep someone in your life. A partner, a parent, a child, a friend. You told yourself, as long as I stay, they'll understand. You sacrificed your health, your boundaries, even your self-worth. And then one day, they walk away. No thank you, no closure. They simply choose another path, without you. And you break, not because you lost them, but because you realize you lost yourself long before they ever left. The twist? It wasn't their leaving that shattered you. It was this. The love you gave never included yourself. You thought compassion meant enduring everything, but the Buddha never taught that. True compassion begins with being kind to yourself. Each of these moments, though they wear different faces, lead to the same point. The truth can no longer be hidden. You've played the role for too long. You've pushed through too much. You've lived by the script of who you should be and forgotten. Your soul didn't come here to meet expectations. Your soul came here to remember itself. And sometimes only in the deepest silence of pain do you begin to see everything you are losing is simply what was never truly yours. But understanding the truth is never enough, because behind the truth comes a collapse of identity. How do you live when everything you believed in is now broken? The answer doesn't come all at once. It comes slowly, in fragments, in trembling breaths, in meditation, through tears. Realizing the truth doesn't bring immediate peace. If anything, it makes you feel more empty than ever before. You used to have a role to play, a standard to live up to, a goal to chase. Now, all of it is gone, and you stand in that emptiness, not knowing who you are anymore. For those born in February, once so proud of their ability to control life, this is pure chaos. There are no schedules to follow, no goals to aim for, nothing left to manage except a restless heart and a tangled mind. You sit and watch an afternoon pass by, doing nothing, and instead of peace, you feel fear because you've never known how to be still. You ask yourself, if I'm not planning, who am I? If I let go of expectations, what do I live for? Inside, two voices start to clash. One whispers, just try surrendering. The other screams, if you let go, you'll lose everything. And you're caught between them, unsure which one is you, unsure what is truth, and what is just habit dressed up as identity. For those born in May, the struggle comes from stillness. It feels like imprisonment. You try meditating, but your mind refuses to sit still. You turn on healing music, but it irritates you. You open your journal, but all you can write is, I don't know. Since childhood, you were taught to be useful. And now in this quiet space, where you produce nothing, you feel meaningless. You begin to question, if I'm no longer productive, am I still worthy of love? Old fears return, fear of being forgotten, fear of becoming invisible, fear that you are just an empty space the world doesn't need. And slowly you realize, behind every achievement, every sprint, every task, wasn't passion. It was the fear of being erased. For those born in September, the pain turns inward. You begin to question your own goodness. You used to believe in kindness. You thought, if I love hard enough, they won't leave. But now, you feel foolish. You blame yourself. Why did I trust so easily? Why did I think love meant giving everything away? Was I just replaceable all along? You start building walls, distant, guarded, quiet. You say, I don't need anyone. But when night comes and you're alone, you just wish someone would hold you. Not someone else, but you, your younger self, who tried so hard to be kind, even when no one noticed. You're not angry anymore. You're just heartbroken because you didn't include yourself in the love you gave away. 3 people, 3 birth months, 3 unique wounds, but one shared experience, an identity in crisis. They no longer know who they are without the version of themselves they've always performed. And in the chaos, old questions resurface. The kind that lived in silence for decades. Do I have the right to be weak? Can I be loved without trying so hard? Is it okay to live with myself without feeling guilty? And those questions, soft as they are, mark the beginning of awakening. It doesn't arrive in fireworks. It doesn't shout. It comes quietly. In the moment you look in the mirror and finally stop trying to run from yourself. For the first time, you don't need all the answers. You just need to stay. Stay with the pain. Stay with the emptiness. Stay with the breath you once ignored for years. And in that staying, something strange happens. You don't fall further apart. You begin to come back to life, not in the old way, not as the person you used to be, but as someone new, honest, gentle, and no longer pretending.